Well, here we are. This will be last video that I'll be able to get out before Texas has its primary election. It's Saturday, and the primary's on Tuesday, and there's a house with some Democratic yard signs. Which we do see, but not that many. This is rural Texas, so it's a lot of Republican ads are what I'm hearing, and the topic on this video, I'm just a little done with the word liberal being used as an epithet or an insult or what equates to all things bad. I mean, liberals have done really great things in this country. Social Security, Medicare. The liberals champion equal pay for equal work. The 40-hour work week. The fact that it's Saturday, it's a weekend, and the fact that a weekend is a thing. You can thank liberals for that. Because liberals like to look out for the workers. And dictionary definitions, I guess conservatives would say that dictionaries are biased, because dictionary definitions of the word liberal paint a positive picture in favor of equality, in favor of equal treatment, in favor of just a better life for people, for a better life for more people. Yet, this primary season, this is the best thing I can say about the primary season just almost being done with, is I listen to news radio, and there's a rather unbiased news radio station here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex that just reports the news and the weather and the traffic during their daytime hours, but political ads end up on there, and all I hear are Republicans in the primary attacking each other. And the way that the Republicans in Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, whether they're running for Congress or state legislature or state senate or state agriculture commissioner or whatever, or lieutenant governor, is by attacking their opponent by saying, he's too liberal. He's liberal. He supported liberal Democrats. Honestly, if he was liberal, he'd be a Democrat. That's just all there is to that. So, but people, just to hear the word liberal in Texas, that's supposed to generate a knee-jerk reaction. And I don't know how well that's going to work this year. It's going to be hard to tell in the Republican primary. Early voting wrapped up yesterday in this Texas primary, and bucket wave. And reports across Texas from the 10 most populous counties is that more Democrats have voted so far in the primary than Republicans have. Texas does not have an open primary. Some states do, where you could go in and you can vote for whoever you want, regardless of what your personal party affiliation is. You can vote for either party's candidate. But Texas, you have to walk into to your polling place and say, I want a Republican ballot or I want a Democratic ballot. And there's a Republican movement here in Texas among public educators to say, regardless of your party, vote in the Republican primary so we can vote out our current Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick. The group's called Texans for Public Education. And the reason that they're doing that is that they're saying, we don't need to worry about the Democratic candidate. We know the Democratic candidate is going to be in favor of public education. But there's so many teachers in the state of Texas that vote against their own interest by voting Republican that it's a thing. The Republican Party stance on public education, that's a topic of a totally new vlog, because I could go on about that, but I want to make sure I've got all my sources and things backed up. But my whole point is, out here, the conservative is viewed as a virtue, and liberal is viewed as a mental disability. The liberal is used as an epithet, and if that's not a strong enough epithet, they change it to libtards. Yet the liberals are the ones that usually have the college educations. They're the ones that research their points and all of that. And since the Parkland shooting in Florida, there's been this explosion, thanks to the high school students from Parkland being active, and it has resulted in a lot of stores nationwide making changes to their gun policies, since Congress won't and can't do it. And they've been saying, like, let's raise the age to buy any firearm to 21 at our store. We're no longer going to sell AR-15s or any rifle in that style that is made to resemble a military-style weapon. The first one to do it was Dick's Sporting Goods. Walmart went a little bit further by saying they're going to take out any toys or airsoft guns that resemble AR-15s from their website. LL Bean, REI, all these places have followed suit, and the backlash from conservatives around here has been pretty vitriolic. But the thing is, they're doing what the majority of the country wants as far as gun control. Yet candidates still out here talk about how their opponent is too liberal and how they're really ultra-conservative, and they support the Second Amendment, and they've got positive grades for the NRA. And right now, I don't know what that rating from the NRA is going to be worth in the election. That's an X factor. And primaries have low turnouts. They have lower turnouts in general elections. And this is for my international viewers, which I don't think I have any right now on this channel. But we're in 2018. This is not a presidential election. It's what's called a midterm election. And those generally have lower turnout than presidential elections, and primaries have way lower turnout. One thing that Democrats have to be worried about, though, is in 2008, the Democrats and voting in the Democratic primary was huge, way bigger than it is now. Even though Democrats are outpacing Republicans now, Democrats far outpaced Republicans in 2008 because during the Texas presidential primary, it was still a tight race between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. And there were a lot of listeners out there of Rush Limbaugh that were voting in the Democratic primary to make Obama lose the Texas primary, which is why Hillary Clinton won the Texas primary. But back then, the Texas Democratic Party had a thing called a two-step, where you voted in a caucus later that night, and that one, Barack Obama won, and that was a third of the delegates. Anyhow, I digress. But yeah, out here, that's how the Republicans in the primary and in the general election, how they campaign. They say, my opponent is liberal, so you have to vote for me. Our lieutenant governor is the only one that I've heard run a radio ad. Dan Patrick has run a radio ad. His whole thing is about how bad liberals are. And I've been racking my brain, and I think of things that are good in life and things that do help make America great. And I don't think of conservative principles when I think of that. What has a conservative administration done that's great for America? I mean, they cut taxes. Ooh, wow, big deal. Now we can't afford anything. Somebody's going to say, well, Ronald Reagan ended the Cold War. Bullcrap. Ronald Reagan was the logical end of a long string of presidents, Democratic and Republican, that built up against Soviet policies. And what Reagan's contribution was to triple our deficit and break our banks by raising that deficit and outspending the Soviets. And well, Reagan tore down the Berlin Wall. No, he didn't. Germans did. The whole reason that the Germans tore down the Berlin Wall was because they felt empowered because the Soviets had got chased out of Afghanistan. which that we helped them, but it wasn't Reagan's policy that helped the Mujahideen get the Soviets out of Afghanistan. That started with Carter. Started with a Texas Democratic congressman named Charlie Wilson, and what messed it up was that the Reagan policy was, hey, we got the Soviets out, let's stop funding them, let's not worry about rebuilding the country, even though it would have cost a fraction. And so anti-American sentiment kicked in, and we couldn't let the Soviets know that we were helping the Mujahideen, so everything was covert. But we could have been overt about helping them rebuild. We didn't think that was worth spending the money, and so anti-American sentiment crept in. It became a hotbed. One of the Mujahideen leaders was a man named Osama bin Laden. We all know how that worked out. So this is conservative policies. Why is liberal the epithet? Liberal's the epithet because it made Rush Limbaugh a lot of money, and it made his clones a lot of money. And so the Republican politicians that get elected in primaries by Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity's radio listeners just hear the word liberal and they have a visceral reaction of, don't vote for that guy, oh my God, he's evil, he's stupid. When can conservative become the epithet? Better yet, when can liberal not be? Why can't we just view things at face value and look at things? And here's another thing, and I'm going to end on this, is this started during George W. Bush's presidency. And even some Democrats are doing this now. We are the Democratic Party. Democratic is the adjective that follows that describes the party. Democratic. But Bush and talk radio started calling us the Democrat Party because they were trying to put a negative connotation on the word Democrat. They'd already succeeded with putting the negative connotation on the word liberal, and they didn't want, but democratic, everybody likes democratic. We're democratic society. We're a democratic republic. That's our country. We elect representatives. The people can elect representatives, and in some states they changed, Texas even changes its constitution by ballot referendum. That is true democracy. So democratic, that's a good word, but they wanted to make Democrat a bad word, so they started using our name wrong and calling us the Democrat Party, and we're the Democratic Party. And 2006 midterms, the Democrats sweep in, Nancy Pelosi becomes the first female Speaker of the House, which was historic, and in the State of the Union address in 2007, George Bush even called us the Democrat Party from the dais at the State of the Union. We're the Democratic Party. But it's just these mind games that conservatives like to play. Let's make liberal a bad word. Let's make Democrat a bad word. And what got me thinking about this was a friend of mine on Facebook, because of all of the backlash against the NRA and conservative policies because of the Parkland shooting, and conservative policies in general just because of having Donald Trump being our president, that, conservatives are getting it bad. We're getting picked on. I don't see this vitriol ever going from right to left. Horse crap. It's been going that way for most of my life, and I'm damn near 50 years old. You can complain when conservative becomes an epithet and when conservative becomes an insult, the way that conservatives have treated the word liberal and people who identify themselves as liberal. And I fell into it back in the mid-2000s. I called myself progressive. But nope, you don't see Progressive Biker on the name of my channel. I'm embracing it now. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's my rant. That's my complaint. Beautiful day for a ride. I'm going to continue doing that whole rioting thing and waving at other bikers and things like that, because they don't know that I'm talking about politics in my helmet right now. Take it easy. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you got somebody that wants to hear some kind of political leanings from a motorcycle, and we'll go from there. Bye bye.